know that sinking feeling when you have a brilliant idea in a meeting, but someone else says it 5 minutes later and gets all the credit?
Oh man, yes.
That's not bad luck. That's an invisible communication mistake, and it's probably keeping you stuck right now without you even realizing it.
Hey everyone, welcome to Real Life English, the podcast. I'm Max.
And I'm Emma. And if you've ever felt like you work hard, you know your stuff, but somehow you're not getting the recognition or the opportunities you deserve, this episode is exactly for you.
Yeah, because today we're talking about those sneaky, invisible communication problems that sabotage your career. And the thing is, most people don't even know they're doing them.
Right. So in this episode, you're going to get 3 things. First, you'll learn 10 super practical English words and phrases that'll help you talk about professional communication. Second, we're going to show you the actual mistakes that are holding people back. And honestly, Max and I have made all of these ourselves.
Oh, absolutely. Still working on some of them, if I'm being honest.
And third, this is the best part, you're going to walk away with a simple framework you can use today to communicate more clearly and confidently at work or in any professional situation.
Now, this episode is designed for intermediate English learners, around B1 to B2 level. But honestly, if you're just starting out or if you're more advanced, you're totally welcome here. We keep things natural and conversational.
Exactly. And if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that follow button right now. We release new episodes every day, and they're all designed to help you improve your English while learning something genuinely useful about life.
And here's your homework for today. Super easy. After you finish this episode, leave a comment and tell us what's one communication mistake you know you make. It can be in English or in your first language. We want to hear from you.
Yeah, and be honest. We're all learning here. There's no judgment.
All right, so should we dive into this?
Let's do it. Okay, so I need to tell you about something that happened to me like 3 years ago. I was working at this marketing company, and I had this idea for a campaign. I thought it was pretty good, So I mentioned it in a team meeting. But here's the thing. I said it kind of quietly, and I phrased it like a question. I was like, maybe we could try, I don't know, what if we did this social media thing with user-generated content?
Oh no, I can already see where this is going.
Yeah, so nobody really reacted. The conversation just moved on. And then, like 10 minutes later, my colleague Daniel, who's way more confident than me, he says, you know what would be great? A user-generated content campaign on social media. Same idea. Exact same idea.
Wow.
And everyone's like, Daniel, that's brilliant. Let's do it. And I'm just sitting there thinking, that was my idea.
That's so frustrating. But did you say anything?
No. That's the worst part. I just brushed it off. Brushed it off means I acted like it didn't bother me, like it wasn't a big deal, even though it actually was. I told myself, oh well, at least the idea is happening.
Right, but you didn't get the credit.
Exactly. And this happened to me multiple times before I realized what was going on. I was making myself invisible. Invisible here means people literally couldn't see or notice my contributions. And it was all because of how I was communicating.
Yeah, I totally relate to this. I used to have the opposite problem, though.
Really? What do you mean?
So I'd have an idea, and I'd just blurt it out. Blurt it out means to say something suddenly without really thinking about how to say it properly. I'd interrupt people, I'd jump in at the wrong time, and then people would get annoyed.
Oh, so you were visible, but maybe not in the right way?
Exactly. I'd come across as aggressive. Come across as means the impression you give to other people, the way people perceive you. I didn't mean to be aggressive, but that's how I seemed. So people would ignore my ideas anyway, just because of my delivery.
That's such a good point. It's not just about speaking up. It's about how and when you speak up.
Right. And nobody teaches you this stuff. Like, you can be amazing at your job, but if you can't communicate your value, you're gonna stay stuck.
Yeah, and here's what's really unfair. Some people are naturally good at this. They just know how to assert themselves. Assert themselves means to express your opinions and needs confidently, to make sure people take you seriously. But for a lot of us, it's something we have to learn.
Totally. And the first step is just becoming aware of what you're doing wrong.
Which is what we're going to talk about next. Because there are specific patterns, specific mistakes that keep showing up over and over.
And once you see them, you can't unsee them.
Okay, so let's talk about the biggest invisible communication mistakes. And I'm going to be honest. I think the number one mistake is undermining yourself with your language.
Undermining yourself, that means weakening your own message, making yourself seem less credible or confident, right?
Exactly. And people do this constantly. They say things like, this is probably a stupid question, but, or I'm not an expert, but, or this might not work, but what if we tried?
Okay, I'm going to push back on this a little bit.
Oh, here we go.
No, hear me out. I think sometimes those phrases are actually helpful. Like if you say I'm not an expert, but you're showing humility. You're being realistic about your knowledge.
Sure, but here's the problem. When you do that every single time you speak, people start to believe you. They start to think, oh, Emma doesn't really know what she's talking about. Even if you do.
That's fair. So it's about balance?
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to come off as arrogant. Come off as is another way to say, come across as, it means the way people perceive you. But you also don't want to apologize for existing every time you open your mouth.
Right. And I think the second big mistake is the opposite problem, not listening. Just waiting for your turn to talk.
Oh, absolutely. I've worked with people like that. They're so focused on making their point that they don't actually hear what anyone else is saying.
Yeah, and then they'll repeat something someone else already said, or they'll suggest a solution to a problem that's already been solved, and it makes them look disconnected.
Which brings us to mistake number 3, and this is a big one, not reading the room. Reading the room means understanding the mood, the dynamics, the unspoken rules of a situation.
Okay, this is something I really struggle with.
Really?
Yeah, like I'll think I'm being helpful by offering my opinion, but actually everyone's already decided and they're just being polite. And I don't pick up on those signals.
See, that's so interesting because I'm the opposite. I'm too sensitive to the room. I hold back. Hold back means to stop yourself from saying or doing something, to restrain yourself, because I'm worried about the reaction.
Right, so you're invisible again.
Exactly. And here's what I've realized. The people who are really successful at communication, They're not perfect. They make mistakes. But they have this ability to adjust in real time.
What do you mean?
Like they'll say something, notice it didn't land well, and then they'll clarify or move on smoothly. They don't dwell on it. Dwell on it means to think about something too much, to keep focusing on something that's already happened.
Oh, that's huge. I definitely dwell on my mistakes.
Same. I'll say something awkward in a meeting and then think about it for 3 days.
3 days? Try 3 months.
Okay, you win.
But here's something that really surprised me when I started learning about this stuff. The way you communicate isn't just about words.
Right, it's also about tone, timing, body language if you're in person, even the energy you bring.
Yeah. And in written communication, like emails or messages, it's about structure and clarity.
Oh my God, email communication is a whole other episode.
Seriously. But the core principle is the same. You have to make it easy for people to understand you and to take you seriously.
Which sounds simple, but it's actually really hard.
Especially if you're doing it in a second language.
Exactly, which is why we're breaking this down step by step. So here's something really interesting. These communication patterns we're talking about, they show up everywhere, but they look different depending on culture and context.
Yeah, totally. Like, in some cultures, being direct is seen as confident and professional. In other cultures, it's considered rude or aggressive.
Right. And if you're listening from, say, Germany or the Netherlands, you might be used to very direct communication. People just say what they mean.
Whereas if you're from Japan or Thailand or many Latin American countries, there's often more emphasis on harmony and indirect communication.
And neither approach is wrong. But when you're working in an international environment or when you're using English as your professional language, you have to navigate these differences.
Exactly. And this is where a lot of people get stuck. They're communicating in a way that's perfectly normal in their culture, but it's being misinterpreted by people from other cultures.
Yeah, like someone from a more indirect culture might phrase a disagreement as a gentle suggestion. Maybe we could consider... And someone from a direct culture hears that and thinks, oh, they don't really care about this.
Right, when actually they care a lot. They're just expressing it differently.
So if you're listening from anywhere in the world, and we have listeners from over 60 countries, just know that communication styles are not universal.
And the goal isn't to completely change who you are. It's to become aware of how you're being perceived and to develop flexibility.
Exactly. Sometimes you need to be more direct. Sometimes you need to be more diplomatic. It depends on the situation.
And honestly, this is one of the most valuable skills you can develop, whether you are in Tokyo, Sao Paulo, Lagos, or New York.
Yeah, because in today's world, most of us are working with people from different backgrounds. And if you can bridge those communication gaps, you become incredibly valuable.
And this applies to social situations too, not just work.
Oh, for sure. Like if you're traveling or if you have international friends, understanding these differences just makes everything easier.
So the question is, how do you actually improve?
That's what we're going to give you right now. All right, so we promised you a practical tool you can use today. And this is it. It's a simple 4-part sentence framework that helps you communicate clearly and confidently about your ideas, opinions, or observations.
And the beautiful thing about this framework is it works in meetings, in emails, in conversations, pretty much any professional situation.
Okay, here it is. When you want to share an idea or make a point, use this structure.
Part 1, I've noticed that.
Part 2, in my experience.
Part 3, what if we tried?
Part 4, I think this could.
So altogether, it sounds like this. I've noticed that our team meetings often run over time. In my experience, having a clear agenda helps keep things on track. What if we tried sending out an agenda the day before each meeting? I think this could help us be more efficient and respectful of everyone's time.
See how that sounds? It's confident, but not arrogant. You're sharing an observation, backing it up with your experience, offering a solution, and explaining the benefit.
Let me give you another example. Maybe you're in a marketing role. You could say, I've noticed that our social media engagement drops on weekends. In my experience, people are more active on Instagram on Sunday evenings. What if we tried scheduling our main posts for Sunday at 7 p.m.? I think this could increase our reach significantly.
Perfect. And here's one more. Maybe for someone in customer service, I've noticed that customers often ask the same questions about our return policy. In my experience, people prefer to find answers themselves before contacting support. What if we tried adding a detailed FAQ section to the checkout page? I think this could reduce support tickets and improve the customer experience.
You see how versatile this is? You can adapt it to any situation.
And the reason this framework works so well is that it's balanced. You're not just complaining about a problem, you're offering a solution. And you're explaining why it matters.
Right. And you're using phrases like, in my experience, and I think which shows some humility, but you're still being clear and direct about your idea.
Exactly. So this week, try using this framework at least once. In a meeting, in an email, even in a conversation with a colleague.
And notice how people respond. I think you'll be surprised at how much more seriously people take your ideas.
Definitely. All right, should we do the word tour?
Let's do it.
Okay, so throughout this episode, we've used a bunch of really useful words and phrases. Let's go through them one by one so you can really lock them into your memory.
First one, brushed it off. This means you acted like something didn't bother you, even though it actually did. You minimized it or pretended it wasn't important. For example, when my boss criticized my presentation, I brushed it off and said it was fine, but honestly, I felt pretty hurt. Or she brushed off the compliment and changed the subject because she's not comfortable with praise. Did you catch that one earlier when we used it?
Next, invisible. In this context, it means people don't notice your contributions or your value. You're there, but you're being overlooked. Example, I felt invisible in team meetings because nobody ever asked for my opinion. Or, working from home sometimes makes me feel invisible to the rest of the company. We talked about this when I shared my story about the marketing campaign.
Number 3, blurt it out. This means to say something suddenly without thinking about how you're saying it. It's usually unfiltered and maybe not the best timing. Like, I was so nervous that I just blurted out the first thing that came to mind. Or, he blurted out the secret before anyone could stop him. I mentioned this when talking about my old habit of interrupting people.
Come across as or come off as, these are the same thing. It means the impression you give other people, how you're perceived. Example, I didn't mean to come across as rude, but I think my email sounded too direct. Or she comes off as confident, but actually she's quite shy. This is super useful because a lot of communication problems happen when how you intend to sound doesn't match how you actually sound.
Exactly. Number 5, assert yourself. This means to express your opinions, needs, and boundaries confidently, to make sure people take you seriously and respect you. For example, I've learned to assert myself in meetings instead of waiting for others to speak first. Or, it's important to assert yourself when someone crosses your boundaries. This is a really important skill for career growth.
Next one. Undermine yourself. This means to weaken your own message or credibility, usually without realizing it. Like, stop undermining yourself with phrases like, I'm probably wrong, but... Or, she undermined her own presentation by apologizing before she even started. This is something so many people do, especially women, unfortunately.
Number 7, read the room. This means to understand the mood, energy, and unspoken dynamics of a situation, to pick up on social cues. Example, he didn't read the room and made a joke during a serious conversation. Or, good leaders know how to read the room and adjust their approach accordingly. This is such a valuable skill.
Hold back? This means to restrain yourself, to stop yourself from saying or doing something. Like, I wanted to disagree, but I held back because I didn't want to create conflict. Or, don't hold back. Tell me what you really think. I mentioned this when talking about being too sensitive to other people's reactions.
Number 9, dwell on it. This means to think about something too much, to keep mentally returning to something that's already happened, usually something negative. For example, I made a mistake, but I'm trying not to dwell on it. Or, she dwells on every criticism for days, even if it's constructive. This is definitely something I'm guilty of.
And the last one, navigate. In this context, it means to find your way through something difficult or complex, to handle or manage something skillfully. Like, learning to navigate cultural differences is essential in international business. Or, she's really good at navigating difficult conversations with clients. We use this when talking about working in multicultural environments.
So those are your 10 key words and phrases from today. And honestly, if you can start using even 3 or 4 of these in your everyday English, you're going to sound way more natural and fluent.
Definitely. And remember, you don't need to memorize them all at once. Just pick 1 or 2 that feel most useful for your life right now and start using them.
Yeah, language learning is a marathon, not a sprint.
Okay, so we've covered a lot today. But if there's one thing I want you to take away from this episode, it's this. Your ideas deserve to be heard, but it's your responsibility to communicate them in a way that makes people listen.
That's good.
Right? Like, you can't control how other people perceive you entirely, but you can absolutely improve your communication skills. And when you do, opportunities start opening up.
Yeah, and just to reiterate, this isn't about becoming someone you're not. It's about removing the invisible barriers that are keeping you stuck.
Exactly. Whether that means speaking up more confidently, listening more actively, reading the room better, or just structuring your ideas more clearly, small changes make a huge difference.
And look, we're all still learning this. I still mess up in meetings sometimes. I still send emails that don't land the way I intended.
Same. I still catch myself undermining my ideas with my language. But the awareness is half the battle.
Totally. So remember your homework. Leave us a comment telling us one communication mistake you know you make. Be honest. We're all in this together.
And if this episode was helpful, please share it with a friend who might need to hear it, or leave us a review. It really helps other learners find the podcast.
And if you want more episodes like this, real conversations about real topics that help you improve your English and your life, make sure you're subscribed.
We'll be back next day with another episode. Until then, keep practicing, keep learning, and remember, you're doing better than you think.
Take care, everyone.
Bye!